Now, President Trump's campaign may have just gotten themselves involved in some bribery in order to help himself avoid getting removed from impeachment. Now, this allegation comes from Politico, who on Thursday published an article claiming that Trump had turned to his large network of donors in order to raise money for a few senators facing difficult reelection campaigns in 2020. So now, this is former Bush White House ethics lawyer Richard Painter. Now, he pointed out how giving Republican senators money ahead of an increasingly likely impeachment trial in the Senate could constitute felony bribery. Now, what's more is the report also notes that how all those senators who have received that money had signed a resolution condemning impeachment. So that's interesting. Now, he said this quote, "This is a bribe. Any other American who offered cash to the jury before a trial would go to prison for felony bribery, but he can get away with it? Criminal." Oh, well, look, my opinion, yeah, he's not wrong. It certainly, to me, it looks like a bribe. But remember, our whole system is built on legal bribery. That's literally what campaign contributions are. But in this case, the money was sent with a point. If you support me in impeachment, then I will support you in reelection with money. Now, a good example of that, by the way, is Suzanne Collins. Suzanne Collins is a vulnerable Republican. She is facing a very tough reelection campaign. But she has decided to be, I guess, open, as open as a Republican can be, to calling witnesses in the impeachment trial. That means no money for Suzanne Collins. She was not involved in this. Now, another one, Martha McSally, she also wasn't involved. However, she does support impeachment, but she's not using their Act Red or whatever, the right wing equivalent to Act Blue. So, yeah, they're not doing that. Okay, anyway, so now that's obviously called corruption, right? And I love how they harp on the point of, well, there's so much corruption in Ukraine. Oh, really? I mean, look at Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is super corrupt. Got $50,000 a month serving on the board of Burisma. Corruption, corruption, and then Biden fired the prosecutor. No, that's not what happened. Actually, what happened is the prosecutor was removed for not looking into Burisma, for not looking into corruption, and that was after Hunter Biden was gone. So okay. Anyway, so that look, and Hunter Biden, by the way, that's the bucket of squirrels. They want to distract everybody from Donald Trump's obvious crimes by throwing a bucket of squirrels at people. Okay? Hunter Biden, corruption. There's corruption right there. It's all the Democrats that are doing the real corruption. Okay. Look, we all admit that, yes, that is corruption. That's personal corruption. Yes, that is an attempt to influence Joe Biden, the vice president of the United States. Yes. However, the Republican Party is also massively corrupt. And that's the problem, right? You can't use one thing to distract from the other. There are both parties that are massively corrupt, and it has to do, of course, with money and politics. So now, at least this guy, though, who, is a Republican, is actually pointing out the GOP's corruption, at least in this instance, but not actually calling for the removal of money in politics. But he did go as far to call criminal charges against them. In fact, he tweeted this: "The senators can raise their own campaign cash. Any senator who accepts cash from real Donald Trump before the impeachment trial is guilty of accepting a bribe and should go to the slammer." But again, most of the Republicans don't care about corruption. Pam Bondi, for example, she's a great example of this, right? So she was in Florida. They were going to go after Donald Trump for his, I believe it was his charity scam or fake university. I can't remember which. There are so many different scams that Donald Trump had been running. Pam Bondi was going to investigate that. But wait, one of Trump's charities literally sent her a check for $25,000. And the next day she dropped the case. And now she's running on Trump's reelection, not reelection campaign, but on Donald Trump's defense. Really? Really? Okay. So now, anyway, who are these? The rest of these congressmen. This is Colorado Senator Cory Gardner, Iowa Senator Joni Ernst. By the way, there's a recent video of her talking about how, I can't wait to see how this affects the Iowa caucuses. Talking about Joe Biden, basically admitting that this entire process, this entire trial, the Republican defense is all about trying to damage Joe Biden ahead of the caucus, his political opponent. And then you have North Carolina Senator Thom Tillis. And yes, thank you, Peter. It was the fake university in Florida, which, by the way, New York had picked up. So next week, Donald Trump will also be helping Georgia Senator David Perdue. So all these senators fiercely oppose impeachment and are considered vulnerable and are getting money from Trump's allies. Now, Cory Gardner is considered to be facing the toughest reelection. So look, if you're accepting money in exchange for being anti-impeachment and you're literally one of the people who will be voting whether or not to remove the president, that is clear corruption. You are a corrupt person, and there should be consequences. However, this entire system of taking corporate donations and dark money is also corrupt. And I think the solution isn't necessarily jailing people, maybe the senators who take this bribe money. But I think overall, the bigger solution here is to get the money out of politics. The ability to give politicians tons of cash for re-election from corporations and billionaires is the root of corruption. That allows Donald Trump to be able to do this in the first place. Oh, you need money for your re-election campaign? Well, I've got this giant network of corporate and billionaire donors that I'm going to funnel through me to you. And so, hey, that's going to help you out, but I'll only do that if you help me out by keeping me in power. It is disgusting corruption and should be pointed out by every single person who talks about Hunter Biden, by the way. Oh, you want to talk about Hunter Biden and corruption in Ukraine? Well, there's corruption happening literally right now, right in front of your face. Why are you not talking about this? Oh, right, because you actually probably benefit from said corruption. Look, the thing is, politicians don't represent us because they get paid off by big donors, right? Now, this situation, as I said before, should have some consequences, as we are talking about impeachment of the president for high crimes and misdemeanors, in this case, abusing his power and doing obstruction of Congress. But there are actually many more charges you can put on Donald Trump, some that are more specific. And I think that the Democrats should go back and file some more actually specific impeachment charges. They can actually do that. I don't know if they will, likely because maybe they have their own corruption issues to sort out. But at the end of the day, here you have Donald Trump literally buying loyalty from Republican senators. And unfortunately, I don't see anybody doing anything about it. Not with our corrupt system the way that it is. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.